Okay, so I don't know if we've done, if I've introduced Chaim or if he introduced himself before I joined. But Chaim has just joined the Optimized team.
Yeah.
And in a meeting that I had with David a few weeks ago, we discussed, he showed me a dashboard that I think you built. Let me open it up. That kind of looks at issue and merge requests by type that we're looking for each section, right?
Yep.
And this kind of triggered a discussion on why we're not actually using our own built-in product to use the same thing. Now, this is like an open conversation that we want to learn and see what we can do in order to get you to Dogfood the feature. And already from the get-go, I can tell you that one of the big gaps that I see is that we're looking at a merge request view, whereas the current implementation looks at issue. So if we look at the issue that I opened up to discuss this, we have a graph that's called type of work. And you can see here that, I'll just open it up here. Yeah, it's on the group level. And if we look at value stream under the group level analytics on the bottom page of this page, where did it go? Here, we have task by type. And the way that this is built is that we have here, we do have merge requests. We can decide to show issues or merge requests, right? Based on different labels that you can select here. Now, I know that the quality team has added quite a few different feature or issue types lately for labels. And I'm wondering if we can try to do something together to try this out and to see what we're missing.
Yeah, so just for context, we have been dogfooding the building directly into GitLab for historical reasons. Before we did that with GitLab Insights, we transitioned and sent it in the Zoom chat. We transitioned that to the optimized team,
yeah.
And now it's there in the product land. The reason with license is because for KPIs and for everything else reporting up, the single source of truth is still license. And the chart that you see has a filter on numbers of projects as well. If you scroll up, there should be a metrics definition here. Therefore, you click the third link on the right-hand side in the box, MR types classification. In the handbook, yep. It takes you to that definition, and you scroll down a little bit. There's a list of projects that are part of product. If you scroll down, please. It's all the way to the bottom end.
I went too far.
Yeah, list of projects. Here we go. Yes, so this pulls data from two GitLab instances, GitLab.com and also ops.gitlab.net. And in addition to that, if you click on the CSV files, it's not all the projects. It's just a subset of them that is only pertaining to our product shipped to the users, part of product development. So these are not like a metric at the group level pass through. These are just a subset of them, and we have approval processes on when to include them. If a new project gets created, it doesn't mean it gets created, it gets included by default. It needs to get through approval. Make sure that, okay, are we dogfooding? Are we actually building code in the existing list of projects and not just all the projects that everybody wants to create? So those would be the two main challenges I see if we were to shift the teams to use the product itself. And the other being that sisense is still the source of truth, so we need to figure out a way how to build a chart here in the product, but also have it made available in Sisense. Maybe it's a pass-through thing. We don't do any processing in Sisense anymore. It's just another copy of the data, if you say. Yeah, so those are the two challenges I see if we were to shift a bunch of these to the product. We tried something like this before with GitLab Insights, and still people prefer Sisense as a source of truth. So that's where we are now.
Okay, so first of all, I understand the single source of truth. Of course, I would like to use GitLab as much as possible.
Yeah, I agree. If we can move in that direction and start to get usage out of the product itself, and if the team dashboards are in the product and the top level one is in Sisense, I think that's a really great improvement. So we don't have to point to Sisense anymore. Another one, sorry, when it was fresh off my mind, is the embeddability of the charts. If we have it in the product, we can have like a JavaScript snippet that we can copy and render in the handbook, or maybe even render in Sisense. That would also help a lot. This transportability of showing that metrics from the product.
Okay, so let's go one by one. So theoretically, if we duplicate the data here and in Sisense, that would be a really good first step that you could actually trust and rely on the data. But I want to try to figure out the gaps that we have today that doesn't let us duplicate that data. So for the first thing that I noticed is the fact that you can't select specific projects. Is that correct?
It's not about selecting, it's pre-configuring, because we don't want to select the list of projects.
I mean, theoretically, in my mind, it doesn't matter if we do this API UI or have it reading from a CSV. Theoretically, you want to have a list of projects that you control that are pulled, and this is the data that you're seeing, right?
Right.
So I think that's the first thing. Chaim, are you taking notes?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one challenge that we see here. In terms of labels, so sorry, I didn't notice I was on the image and not on the product, but in terms of labels, do you think that would also be easier for you if you could select here a predefined list of labels instead of, only going through the UI and selecting the types? You would have like a CSV file very similar that would map to specific labels, and those would be the ones that are presented on the graph?
Yeah, those would be the default ones. And if they're not in those lists, it should be undefined, because we want to be objective. We don't want to see multiple dimensions of data. With this list, I don't think it has everything. So let's say
I was looking at type, it should map to all the types. It's just whatever was selected. Sorry, the UI here is also something that we need to handle. But let's say if I look at type, you can select them. It's just not pre-selected.
Pre-select them and have it scope to that. We don't want to see other subtypes that are not in the same data dimension.
No, that's okay. I'm just thinking wider. We could have like a dashboard for quality, and then someone else who's interested in something else would have different scope labels, right?
Sorry, come again.
So I'm saying that we could have like different dashboards per whoever's looking at this. So if we're looking at the quality dashboards that are equivalent to here, it would be scoped to the types. But if someone else was looking for, I don't know, like customer issues, they would have their own dashboard to look at something other by scoped labels.
Okay, yes, but are you showing that differently every time you goes to visit this page? Say if user A, user B goes to this page, are they seeing different contexts?
It's a good question. So the way that we have it in value stream, for example, here you can select what is the view you're looking at. So imagine that you can toggle between them. It's actually very similar to Insights you said that you worked on pretty much before handing it over. So you could select whatever you're looking at. So you could look at feature types, customer types, tech debt, whatever is interesting to the person who created the view. Does that make sense?
Okay, if it's consistent, like if we
Yeah.
have a link and the one VP clicks at it, you see one view. Another VP clicks at that same link, it's the exact same view. We're talking about the same things, and his direct reports or her reports see the same thing. I think that's key.
Okay, so Chaim, another gap is the fact that currently it's the same for everyone. You can't predefine, and the fact that it's really annoying that you have to select this every time. So if we could get that called by a CSV file or whatever, and we should probably have a default that we suggest and then let everyone else choose whatever they want. Okay, so 3 gaps so far. We talked about projects, we talked about scoping the labels. What about the dates?
Yeah, that's a great one. There's a lot of flexibility in data when I get requests from, so daily, weekly, monthly, those are the ones that come up the most. Are you able to have ability to tune that time dimension, or is it just one time dimension?
So now it goes by, here, it tells you February 13th till March 14th, because you can select the date here. So this is actually even more flexible than weekly, monthly.
Okay, got it. But is the data rendering on a weekly basis or a monthly basis? When you hit on those points, are those per month or per day?
So if you look here, it's on a daily basis for that duration of the month.
Okay, got it. So this is another area we need to double click in. The size charts is rendered on a monthly basis. So each data point is
With aggregated data.
Aggregated data, yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I think so far, nothing seems too complicated yet.
That's good. That's good to know. That's encouraging to know.
Is there any? Sorry.
There was a thing with embedded, right, Mac? Can you show us an example how you embed the sign?
Yes, sure. If you go to,
should I open the Sisense dashboard?
If you can click on the handbook link, the next link probably, or do you open it for us? The next link on your tab to the right-hand side.
This one?
Yes. If you go all the way up, you can click one of the dashboards here, create or plan.
And we're in manage, so we're going to choose a manage one.
Sure. So this is the data that we create for the access group. So it has everything here. Those merge request types will move eventually here. And these are aggregated charts on many topics for that given group or stage.
This is the downside of putting Sisense in the handbook.
You mean the load time?
Yes.
Yeah, we are aware of that. We have there's some workarounds, but yeah, I think rendering issue is a challenge everywhere. If we don't render it in time, it causes annoyances.
Yeah. Okay. I think that we understand the requirements. Is there something that you're missing today from Sisense that would have made your life better, and you would have liked that you would like us to add that when we're looking at these charts here? Oh, sorry, here.
Exports and double clicking. So when we look at the dashboards in Sisense, we also provide a table of merge requests. So it doesn't happen in here. If you go up to the side, there's
the clicks here.
Yeah, the drill down. Yep,
yeah.
the first link that you have on the top. When engineering managers go in and figure out, okay, what is my merge request rate looking like? They are able to filter down to each team here and then get an export of what their team's MRs look like. And we provide this because we tell people to be more accurate. They want to see, okay, my MRs that are listed as features, are they actually features or they're something that's actually in maintenance? Vice versa. If there are too much maintenance, are they actually features or something or bugs that they need to go and take a look at their data?
So
drill down on the data.
I think that here we actually have a benefit because you can filter results. So you could probably filter by a specific team if a specific manager is interested in how their team is performing, or by maintenance and the team. So actually, this would probably be easier. And then having the export at any time could have, you could theoretically have every manager getting whatever data they want, which could be pretty cool.
Yeah, as long as the filter is pre-configured. The mechanisms we give the team now is when they give them a link, it's filtered to their team, right? The handbook dashboard also gets filtered to the team. They only need to click once and they don't have to add additional filters and all that. And even the export is also already there. It's not a CSV file. It's if there's a widget here that shows the list of merge requests.
We could probably do that because we already show the merge requests in different areas. So
right.
I mean, this would probably be more work, but it's still not something that seems very complex. Chaim's gonna kill me.
Everything seems to be.
Cool. Okay, so I think we've got the requirements. Is there anything that you want to add to this subject before I ask you something else?
No, go ahead. I don't think we can capture it in one call, to be honest. There's probably things that we did not catch and new requirements as we refine going forward.
Yeah, the GitLab way. It's iterations. The first real iteration that I see is duplicating the data, right? That's the one that I think is the most important one, and to have the predefined scope labels here and see that at least at the top level we're seeing the same data, and that there's no loss of data. That's the most important thing for me for the first iteration. So it wouldn't replace anything yet, but it would say that we're on the right track.
One thing comes to mind if you have some time.
Yes.
If you go back to the Sisense dashboard view, the stakeholder view has a drill down of everything. So there's a side-by-side view of dev, ops, sec, right? If you scroll all the way down, there are these teams. So you're able to spot outliers and teams that are not in a given pattern pretty easily. How are we going to do that in the product?
So that's a very large topic, and it has to do with all analytics, not necessarily this specific one. And we're talking about showing comparative views in different dimensions. So it could be comparing different groups. We can do this pretty easily with labels. If we do end up doing a filter with here that filters by label and type, it's pretty easy to get them side by side. And we were talking about doing that for different times, for different groups. And what was the third one, Chaim, do you remember? The comparative view? Maybe projects. That was the thought. What I really like about not doing Sisense and doing this in our project is that theoretically, if we do have this one page that drills into the same table, theoretically, we have one that's not filtered. You can see how all of GitLab is doing. And then we could probably put a custom report based on specific teams and labels. And really, it's just a subset of the same data. So we don't actually have to pull the data again and again and again.
I say we move with iterations. If we have the next set of improvements, let's implement it. Let's show it side by side and show it to the users too, the engineering managers that are using it, to see how is it easier there, or are they still gravitating to Sisense? I suggest starting there.
Yeah, I also told Chaim today that Optimize will probably be the guinea pig. We'll start with their group.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay, one more question that I wanted to ask you about insights, because you mentioned insights. What was the main challenge here that made the team go away from it?
Well, we were working on it for a while. We were asked to give this away into the product, and we shifted our priority to something else. I think there are still asks in Sisense that we are not able to get to. We are not able to filter on labels. I don't think we can render MRs yet. What was the other one?
The clickable.
There are a few more. The clickable, the drill downs.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think insights might be a better candidate. But you tell me which one is better in line with the engineering metric side of things, either the value stream or insights, and we'll Dogfood and give feedback to you afterwards.
So they're very similar, and you can see that even the charts look pretty much the same. The difference is that insights is really based on the YAML file that created it, and in the value stream view, you can customize the labels, which you can't do here like easily. Not that it's the end of the world. I love YAML. It's very flexible. But I think probably finding a combo, because we're thinking of renaming insights to custom reporting, because really you can do whatever you want here.
Okay. For context here, the reason we built insights, because they're our logic, customized logic that we need. And that's why it's via YAML file.
Yeah.
We didn't have front-end people configuration at the time to make it an editor where you save and it gets affected immediately. So we use the YAML file. I don't think that has been iterated after things had transitioned away from the team.
No one has touched this, but we're thinking about doing a few things. Like, one of the biggest problems that I specifically have with insights is the fact that it's pulling data from so long ago that it just takes forever to load. So we'll probably, need to truncate the data for the last year or whatever, because that's usually what's more interesting.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for bringing it up. That's also a requirement in Sisense, because we want to see 2 years worth of data.
Okay, so that's important to know.
Yeah. One thing we can do there is, for historical data, go to Sisense with the most refreshed data. If the product is faster, that's something we could leverage the team to use. I think team structure is important. Filtering on a set of dimensionality on the metrics, the type only, and others go into undefined. That's important. And filtering on the groups of projects. That's important. And that on its own are 2 iterations. One is within the GitLab instance, and the other is how do you do multiple GitLab instances? Because Sisense can aggregate 2 GitLab instances.
Yeah.
If we use VSM, then it's like you need to go to each instance to look at that data.
Yeah, I don't think we'll start with multiple. We'll start with 1 and get that working, and then iterate towards 2, I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying that VSM should solve it all. I think there are some things that may be better done in Sisense because it's aggregated from 2 GitLab instances. I'm not sure if we want to have like a federated GitLab configuration that one instance pull from the other. That seems very many iterations away.
In a couple of years, after we get Workspace up and running, we'll support multiple workspaces, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Happy to chat further. Yeah, and once you have anything to validate or feedback for the team, happy to chat again.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave you in the trusted hands of Chaim to iterate on this.
Follow up, yeah. Okay, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, this is
my pleasure.
Okay.
Really helpful.
So I will follow up. Yeah, I will summarize my note, and I will follow up on a plan.
Awesome.
Thanks for now.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you both.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day. Talk soon. Bye.